Okay, so for today we'll be doing a C code which will validate an identifier. Okay, so the user can give an input to the program, and the program must tell me whether the given words are an identifier or keyword. Okay, so let's start. C code to validate identifier. Let's save it. So I'm saving it with today's date, that is 31 August. Let's see. Okay, so the very first thing that I'll be typing include HTTPS. Okay, next the main function, void main. Okay, so here I'll take for the first I'll take an input from the user. Okay, so okay, so I'll be taking the input from the user, and one more thing that I have to define here, I'll be using flags here. Okay, so I'll be giving if else condition. Okay, so within the if condition I'll give the simple things, I'll give the simple keywords. So in case of C program, what are the main keywords? Suppose we can say integer. For integer we have int, then float, then long. All these things are our valid keywords. Or for loop, while loop, do, break, all these stuffs. Okay, so I'll include in the first condition, and if that condition is true, it will print that this is a valid keyword, and if it's not true, then it must show that it doesn't belong to any keywords class or anything. Okay, so I'm taking one integer I, and the value of I is 0. Then another integer named flag. So I'll change the value of this particular variable flag according to my necessity. So I'm using this one to validate the conditions. So according to the condition, the value of flag variable will change. Okay. Now for the input, I'm taking is an array of characters. So here keywords. Okay, so this is the variable that the user is going to give as an input. So let's take it as the length for 10. Keyword 10, and it is a by. Okay. So here I'm taking an array, and this array has two directional values, two vector array. So in the first thing, I'll be saving first place int, or can have float, can have long, for long integer. Then we can have character, we can have string, so next I'll be giving the conditional statements. So for conditional statement, I can give if, else, then if, else. Okay. Then you can have uh, for loops. So you can have the loops: for loop, while loop, do while. Okay. Do while. And in case of, and there will be break, default. These are also the keywords. So break, default. Okay. In the first dimension, I have given all the keywords as input, and in the second dimension, I'll be declaring a as 10. So this is one variable a, and a contains some character variables, character values, because I have declared it as character at the beginning. Okay. So now I'll be taking the input from the user. To take input from the user, in this portion, so printf, and I'll type enter the identifier. Okay. Now I'll be using the getter method to get the value for a. So I'll be typing simply get a. Okay. Now after this, so up to this I have got the value from the user. Now I'll give some conditions. Okay, so according to condition, if the condition meets the value given, so I will check the conditions with the variables given. Now for this, I'm giving a statement for loop. I'll be using a for loop. So for okay, so I'm using for loop to access all the values in this second dimension, because the second dimension value is coming from the user. So I have to check, I have to go through all these values in the A array. So that's why I'm taking to traverse all the values, I'm taking this for loop up to I equal to, from I equal to 0 to I equal to 10. So up to 10, it will traverse all the values. So I equal to 0, and it will traverse until I is smaller than 0, and I'll be incremented. Now here, if so I'll compare the strings. The given string will be compared. For this, I'm using the function string compare. So the function is strcmp string compare, and it will be comparing with my this value, that is keyword, this variable. So string compare, I'm typing here keyword, and from keyword it will go each and every position for I. So I'm typing here I, and the second dimension will be the value taken from the user, and it will simply traverse till value is equal to 0. So if it matches, that is the values are equal to 0, then I'm changing the value for flag. So in this portion, if it matches, the value for flag will be 1. Earlier I have declared the value for flag as 0, but in this, if this condition applies, the value will be transformed into 1. Okay. So up to this, the for loop is done. Next, if the value is flag of if the value for flag is 1, then what will happen? So if the value for flag is equal to 1, that means if this condition is true, then it will print okay, enter the identifier. Okay, so if this condition is true, it will print that this thing is a keyword. So the string value is a keyword. Okay, and the string value is coming from the value of a. Okay, else flag will be set as 0. That is the earlier condition. Okay, so I have already made the code for the keywords already. Okay, so these were all the available keywords in C language. So in case of, if I say that I have to make a program that will validate the identifiers in Java language, in that case there will be other keywords also, but these are all the keywords for the C language. Now in the next line, in next case, I'll identify whether the given line or given string is only identifier or not. So in that case, I will validate if the first letter is an capital letter or not. So in that case, I'm giving another if condition, that is okay, if A0, that is the first position. So I'm comparing the first position of the taken input. If A0 is equal to underscore. So if this is underscore or is alpha. Is alpha A0. If a condition, আচ্ছা এটা হচ্ছে আন্ডারস্কোরের জন্য or is alpha condition A. Okay, so and the first position is alpha, so this condition doesn't satisfy either. this one is true or this one is not true, equal to 0, then I will traverse the rest of the line. So if a0 underscore alpha 0 not equal to 0, okay, then here I'll start another for loop to traverse the rest of the line. So in that case, for I equal to will be 1 because I have already traversed the first position. So for the next position, that is 1. So 1 up to a of I is not equal to 0 and I plus plus. Okay. So for this condition, if I. So for each condition, so when I equal to 1, so this is continuing for the position I. So after taking the condition, after validating the condition, it will come out of the loop and then the value for I will be incremented. So in that case, in the next iteration, the value of I will be 2, and here also the value for I will be 2. So in that way, it will go until there is there comes a value 0. So this one is equal to 0 and a of I not is underscore. So I'm considering the underscores in between, not in the first position. Okay. So if this happens, then the value for flag will be changed to 1. 1, 2, 4. Okay, so up to this is my if condition, else else flag will be 1. Okay, this condition is done. Flag 1, everything if, okay, else আবার কোথাও প্যাচ লাগাইছি, if flag is equals to not 1, এখানে if condition শেষ, okay, else flag is 0, okay, flag 0 কাহিনী শেষ, এরপর হচ্ছে আবার if is alpha, okay, আমি শুরু হয়েছে একটা ব্র্যাকেট, এই ব্র্যাকেট শেষ হয়েছে এই জায়গায়, okay. So else flag equal to 1. Main. আচ্ছা আগে লিখে শেষ করি। So flag equal to 1 else flag equal to 1 এরপর যাব হচ্ছে আমি okay. So in case of flag is equal to 0, so what it should print in that case? So I'm typing if flag is equal to 0, then it must print so the value is an identifier. And the value of string is coming from A. Else it will print. So otherwise, if anything happens apart from this one, then it will return that this is not any valid identifier. So is not a valid identifier. Okay, and the value should be picked from A. This thing returns 0. Save my program. Let's run it. You could see 31 the undeclared was using this one.
কি সেমিকোলন হবে না এর মধ্যে?
For I আচ্ছা এখানে A কোথায় সেমিকোলন দেখলেন আপনি? কে জানি বললেন
হবে কিনা জিজ্ঞাসা করতেছি আর কি। সেমিকোলন টাইলে মোট কিছু হবে এরকম
কোন লাইনে
মানে ইফ মানে এলস ফ্ল্যাগ 0 এর নিচে ইফ যেখান থেকে শুরু হইছে
flag 0 না
মানে ওখানে কি সেমিকোলন হবে না নাকি?
এখানে ইফ কন্ডিশনের সময় তো হবে না, যখন কন্ডিশন লিখতেছেন যেমন এলস, এটা কন্ডিশন হবে না কারণ এখানে
লাইন 31 এ দেখাইতেছে।
আচ্ছা দেখি আর কোন এরর আসছে কিনা। আবার কোথায় এরর আসছে? undefined reference to get to the studio. Wait. আরে এখনো গেট আসে না কেন? আচ্ছা গেট এস আসছে। আচ্ছা তো এখন যদি আমি এখানে so now if I give any input here, so it is showing আচ্ছা আউটপুট কি দেখা যাচ্ছে?
না আউটপুট দেখা যায় না।
এখন আউটপুট আসে? So it has printed enter the identifier, so let's give an keyword. So a keyword might be for, so I'm typing for, so it is giving the result for is a keyword. Now let's print this line. that it might be an identifier if there is an underscore. So run it again, and I'm giving item underscore ABC. So is giving ABC is not a valid identifier. So as I said, that anything that may not comes under the condition, it will be not an identifier. Now, sorry, not an yes, not an identifier. So now let's give integer for int int. Now int is an identifier because I have it comes under the condition. The first letter is capital. Now let's give one thing like so like flag, suppose. So it is an identifier. Okay, so this was the entire code for validating an identifier in C. So in case you have to give a code that say validate the, write a code C code to validate the identifier of any other language. Suppose in case of Java language, then what you'll do, you will simply search for all the keywords available in Java and add after these things. So here I have taken 10. So I'm giving here 10 words. If Java contains 15 keywords, then you have to declare this value also 15. Then these are 15 keywords into this keyword variable. Okay. So I'll upload the code in the Google Drive. And is there any confusion?
If this question come in the exam, then we'll just change the character keyword and we'll put all the keywords.
Yes, so I may not give you the same exact question. I may ask you for JavaScript or any other language. You have to just edit the code accordingly. Okay. I'm taking the attendance. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I'll upload the code. Try to practice the
Ma'am,
word. Yes.
hello?
হ্যাঁ বলেন
ম্যাম গ্রুপের মধ্যে কি কি আপলোড করছিলাম?
গ্রুপে হচ্ছে এখন শুধুমাত্র আমি ভিডিওগুলো আপলোড করছি, কোড বোধহয় সব আপলোড করা হয় নাই। এটা
ও আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে ম্যাম। কোড কি আজকে আপলোড দিবেন সব?
এটা এই উইকে আপলোড দিয়ে দিব বিকজ নেক্সট উইকে ক্লাস হবে কিনা তো শিওর না এখনো।
আর ম্যাম আপনাদের বাসা সবাই ঠিক আছে এখন?
আপাতত কারো কোনো সিমটম নাই, এটা একটা ভালো খবর। এখন হচ্ছে আবার বুধবারে হচ্ছে আমরা স্যাম্পল দিব, তারপর দেখি কি হয়।
আচ্ছা।
এমনি কোনো ইয়া নাই, কিন্তু হচ্ছে যে আব্বুর হচ্ছে উইকনেস আছে কিছুটা, মানে এটা হচ্ছে কি বলে, এটা আসলে সবাই বলছে, মানে যারা ভালো হয়েছে করোনা থেকে সবাই বলছে যে এরকম একটা উইকনেস থেকে যায়, এটা কয়েকদিন যায়।
Hello, madam.
ঠিক আছে ম্যাম, দোয়া করি।
Yes, Mustafa.
How are you today, madam? I hope you're
Yeah,
doing good.
I'm doing good. I'm all right. I don't have any symptoms of corona anymore. Okay, so
Okay.
we'll be giving sample on Wednesday, next Wednesday, like after 2 days. So let's see if this time comes negative for all of us.
Okay, speedy recovery, madam, inshallah.
Okay, thank you everyone.
Very good.
Okay.